Hey, what up, everybody, and welcome to the Hated Heroes YouTube channel. I'm LB, the host of the Hated Heroes podcast. Just want to first and foremost say it's official, man. It's official. He's in office. He's in office. A lot of people are scared. People are confused. Religious people are saying, if he's such a bad guy, why was he saved with the whole assassination attempt? Dude, there's a lot of questions going on. A lot of people confused about what's going on right now, and we're all just trying to figure it out together. And I want to say, if you're faith-based, you're not going to really put too much trust in man. You're going to continue to go about your day-to-day with awareness, okay? With awareness and as much understanding as you possibly can. He's been reversing a lot of stuff. And again, I want to say the reversing of things is what's scaring a lot of people. That's what's scaring a lot of people. And just, of course, all the stuff that we know he did from before. A lot of people are going off of the past and they're bringing it into the present. And I don't think that's being a gift for anybody. But let's get into it.
1 hour of putting his hand on the Bible, taking the keys back to the White House, President Trump is scheduled to put his name on hundreds of executive orders immediately. So buckle up, folks. This is going to be big. So let's go through some of the huge details of what we are expecting in just a week's time. So within hours of the president taking the oath of office, President Trump is set to unleash a tidal wave of executive orders, hundreds of them, designed to obliterate the Obama-Biden legacy. If past is prologue, we can actually look back to 2016 for some clues about what's coming. But make no mistake about it, this time it'll be much, much bigger. So back in 2016, Trump hit the ground running. On day one, he signed executive orders to begin construction of the border wall, withdraw the United States from the Trans-Pacific.
Okay, there we go. So number one, reverting back to 2016, a lot of people's mindsets and a lot of people's hearts and a lot of people's basically just the conclusion of this man and the conclusion of his presidency and the way he runs things are deemed 100% off of everything that happened back in 2016 and everything that he was doing prior to. Whenever he was given power prior to, everybody's going off of what he's going to do with power moving forward. Let's look at it this way. Let's look at it as you don't have any control over what he does. Okay, you don't have any control over what he does. That individual has been appointed a position. Okay, and he's going to work his position. Anything that he does is 100% on him, and I understand. About the backlash. I understand about the decisions he makes impacts the rest of the world. I get it. That's where the fear comes in. But if you trust in God, this man's decisions should not impact. No, that's a very strong word. If you are truly faith-based, then you will know and understand, okay? You will know and understand that this man is put in his position and he's to carry out this position. You did not place him there, no matter if you voted or not. You didn't place him in this position, okay? God placed him in this position for everybody to see what's going to happen next. People need to always be in a let's see what's going to happen next. Let's see. That's the state of mind that you have to be in. Well, let's see. Versus being so worried and so concerned on things that, again, you cannot go to the White House and do anything. You cannot sit in any of these meetings that they sit in and do anything. You're not in Congress. You're not on the Senate. You're not. We are everyday people. That's who we are. We are everyday people. Okay, we are the people. Okay, as it states in the Constitution. Okay, that's who we are. Okay, the only thing that we can do is come together on our end. The system is completely separated from us. We allowed it to be put in place to run us. That's what we allowed it to do. However, we, the people, are stronger than the system if we actually just sit and think about it. But what happens is we just let the system control everything that's going on, and then we we remain concerned about it for multiple years, and all we do about it is we just continue to vote, and we voice our opinions and we vote. We voice our opinions and then we vote. Let's see. Let's see, because again, you're not in control of this. God is in control of what's going to happen over the next 4 years.
Partnership gave the middle finger to environmentalists, expediting environmental reviews for infrastructure projects. He also froze federal hiring and took steps to undo Obamacare. Now imagine that, but doubled, tripled, or quadrupled in scale. Reports suggest Trump plans to reclassify thousands of civil service positions to ensure loyalty, reinstate travel bans to secure our borders.
So we should have a travel ban, an immediate deportation, and immediate consequences for the mother country that knowingly sends these people here.
Okay. That's a sensitive subject. Being from Texas, the whole border thing, ever since I was a child, the whole border thing has been a very sensitive subject. Evil people, no matter where they're from, has always been a concern, not only for the United States, it's a concern for everywhere. That's a global concern. I know we just speak on it a lot more here in the United States. I mean, it's a hot topic. It's a hot topic. It's a subject of conversation. The safety of our borders. The safety of our borders. So what's happening is that it's not being broken down, and it's kind of seeming a little bit inhumane, like when we catch glimpses of the conditions of what's happening at the border, or we catch a story about what's happening at the border, we catch a story about an immigrant. It's like the news will weigh us one way, it'll pull at our heartstrings one way, and then we'll also be told about an immigrant and or a group of immigrants taking over apartment complexes with firearms and things of that nature, and it will be all because of the border. Everything will be related back to the border, related back to illegal, evil people being able to infiltrate the United States because the borders have been tainted. The borders are not strong. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. We know that people try to seek asylum. We know that bad things are happening all over the world. Should we have a better system in place? Absolutely, a better system in place to help monitor and or gauge our guest. How about that? We need a better system in place to help us gauge our guest. Okay, every one of our guests are not bad. They're not bad. But what our system, what our government is doing is just putting a blanket statement on all guests, a blanket statement that, hey, it's safer if we just keep it all in-house. That's what's being said right now. It's safer if we keep it all in-house. Well, let's see if there's a positive to that. Let's see if there's a positive side to what's seeming a little hateful. Okay. Again, we don't live in other countries, so we don't know how things are operated whenever somebody that's deemed illegal tries to come in. We don't know how it's handled whenever somebody that has criminal intent comes into somebody else's city, somebody else's town, somebody else's country. We don't know how it's handled. We just know how things are handled here in the United States. So again, I'm pretty sure that evil things happen all over the world. There are criminals all over the world. Is there a better way to gauge a guest? Is there a benefit? Is there a benefit behind closing the borders down, cleaning up what's going on right now, making people feel safe, making people feel comfortable, making people feel at ease? Is that the benefit that everyone is looking for? Is it the benefit that everyone's looking for? Because what it's coming across as is we want nice things to happen to people, but at the same time, we also want our comforts. We got to make it make sense, people. We got to you can't have your cake and eat it too. You just can't, that can't be. That just can't be. So realistically, what should we do? What should we do, realistically? Because it's all being left up to Trump, and we already know how he's thinking. We're living up to him. We already know where his mindset is at, and we already know where his supporters' mindset is at. Like, we know where that mindset is at. So, to combat that, or can you even combat that? Like, what else should be done? How else do you gain control over an unruly guest? How else do you gain control over multiple unruly guests? Like what do you do? Where do you start?
Use a machete to basically slash regulations to reignite American industry. This isn't just hitting the reset button, guys. This is smashing it with a sledgehammer. This is why the left is panicking right now. They know that within 3 hours of Trump ascending to office, he will dismantle the policies they've spent years building. The Obama-Biden era isn't just ending, it's being erased. It's a globalist agenda that is being erased, and I cannot wait for it. So what's on the table for day one of 2025? Well, let's start with immigration. It starts right there. Trump plans to reinstate travel bans, not just as a matter of policy, but as a matter of national security. Reports suggest he's preparing mass deportation, stricter border enforcement, ensuring that the Darien Gap, Panama pipeline of illegal immigration stops cold.
Number one, we're closing the border. It's going to be closed very strongly, and it's going to be closed. And we're going to have to take people out that are criminals. We have people from jails from all over the world and from mental institutions. And as you know, they're going to have to be removed. And we're going to be really governed by common sense. These are the principles of common sense. We're not going to be governed by stupid people.
On the economy, expect new.
So, this is why he gets a bad rap. This is why working in corporate America, I guess I've been privileged enough to know that people with business suits on speak their mind. I know that we've been told about how respect works, and know your audience, like what other things, like there were certain things that a lot of us were taught in our households. Well, behind closed doors, okay, these CEOs and CFOs and these owners of football teams and the upper percentile of the world, a lot of them are very blunt speaking individuals. A lot of times, when you're in that realm, it's not so much of what's best for everyone, it's what's best for the company. Okay, and that's, unfortunately, that comes across a real heartless. It comes across heartless. It sounds heartless. It can sometimes feel heartless. But again, I'm going to repeat this one more time. We the people allowed for this type of system to be put in place, to where you have your people that might run the company like Biden, and then you have your people that might run the company like Trump. You have people different CEOs, different humans, all going for we can call it the greater good. But when you really narrow it down, what's going to keep the company functioning for years, even after I'm gone? That's the thought process. What will keep the company going even years after? Okay. That heartless and/or insensitive thought process, and/or verbs that come out of people's mouths, that's what really throws individuals off. That's what throws people off. That's what really shuns people away from trying to support somebody, because it sounds like you're just being mean. It sounds like you're not taking into consideration the backlash of your decision. At the end of the day, what this man is in here doing is taking the issues, quote unquote, the high level issues, okay, which is money and security, and of course he's going to touch on gender as well. That's about to come into play as well. But the main thing is money and security. Can we continue to make money hand over fist? Because of course that's what makes the world go round. Don't forget about that. Money makes the world go round. That's what everyone has decided. Okay, so What can we do to keep the money coming in and to grow the money? Number one. Number two, how can we protect not only the money, but protect the assets? What needs to be done? What needs to be put in place for protection? And that's where the focus is going to go. So no matter who's coming into play, no matter who's taking over, no matter any of that, money and security. And then you start dwindling down to the people. You start dwindling, and that's when we start hearing things like gender. We start hearing things like taking control of sex trafficking. We start hearing things like boosting the economy's jobs. We start hearing things like focusing on how food stamps are administered to people. But that comes down after the big money and after the security. Then those subcategories, which we the people find those are the number one categories. But do you see how that plays? So our day-to-day lives, like how I'm treated, like the respect on how I'm treated at work, the respect on how I'm treated by the police, the respect on how I'm treated when I'm making money, okay? That goes hand in hand with your security, because you want to feel safe. You want to go to the store and feel safe. You want to go to the airport and feel safe. You want to go to an outing and you want to feel safe. That's what you want. Well, the government is in place to try to make you feel as safe as possible. And sometimes that comes across seeming a little heartless. And it's never broken down to us. Nobody wants to break that down to us because it's left at the political level.
On the economy, expect new orders slashing regulations that have strangled American businesses. Trump's energy plan, by the way, is set to turbocharge independence by reopening federal lands for drilling, oil drilling, reversing Biden's crippling green agenda. But it's not just about oil, coal, and natural gas. It's also about critical minerals in the United States. One of America's biggest blind spots right now is critical minerals. The United States has some of the largest untapped reserves of essential minerals.
That's what Biden was just talking about with his concern for what's it called? Climate change. I'm sorry. This is what he was just talking about.
Like copper, lithium, uranium, and other rare earth elements, which are vital from everything to construction, to computers, to EVs, to renewable energy technologies.
We're going to put the miners back to work.
Trump's focus on domestic mining isn't just about jobs. It's about securing America's supply chains, reducing our dependence on foreign nations like China for these resources. We get a huge amount of our enriched uranium, by the way, from Russia. This needs to stop right now. Has hinted at dismantling woke federal education policies, expanding school choice, giving parents the power to decide what's best for their kids.
Rather than indoctrinating young people with inappropriate racial, sexual, and political material, which is what we're doing now, our schools must be totally refocused to prepare.
Disinterested. Okay. It's like the man's trying to not rewrite. He's definitely attempting to get a restart, and almost like a revert. And I know that's also where the scary part comes in. It's almost like a revert to a time where certain things weren't spoken about, a time where everybody just kind of knew their place. That's what I'm going to say. He's taking it back to a time where everybody knew their place. And whatever that means for you, I'll let you run with that, okay? Because I mean, that's pretty, I'm saying it as bluntly and as clearly as possible. He's taking it to a time where everybody knew their place, okay? Here's the difference. During that time when everyone knew their place, a lot of minority individuals kind of just followed suit. And non-minority individuals kind of just jumped on the bandwagon of, their bandwagon of the other side, okay, and that's kind of what was happening back then. The difference now The difference now, because I mean that was a few decades ago. Okay, I haven't seen too many police releasing dogs or spraying people with fire hoses. I haven't seen too much of that now. I do see other negative things, but I haven't seen that stuff from that time frame. What's happening now is that it's not so much that people are woke. People understand their rights. There are people in place here on this earth now that were not in place back then that can help out with rights, that can help out with things being humane. There are things in place now. It's literally a new world. So not only a new world for them, that's what a lot of people on our end, we deem they're in the new world order. Please understand, they're not the only ones. They are not the only ones in a new world, okay? We also are in a new world. We now have a new type of backbone, okay? As minorities, we have a new type of backbone. The internet only helps out, so much because it helps expose certain things, but it also allows us to all connect, okay? As to where we couldn't before, we can now connect in a stronger way, a much, much, much more stronger way. So all that fear of going back to the 1930s, 40s, 50s, all that fear, please stop. Don't bring that into now. Because I mean, it's almost like you're saying that things haven't changed. It's almost like you're saying that we haven't grown a backbone. It's almost like you're saying that we don't have technology now. We don't have things and rights put in place now. It's almost like you're saying that. And I refuse to believe that we have not done any changing over the last 40 years. I refuse to believe that. And that's what people are saying. If you're thinking that him reverting things back to that time and that everything's going back to that time, no, it's a new world for both sides. For both sides, it's a new world.
But it's not just at home where America has been taken advantage of. It's on the global stage as well. So let's talk about Europe. For years, the United States has been the economic engine propping up Europe. They sell us 20% of their goods. But what do we get in return? A massive trade deficit. Now, I lived in Europe for years. And let me tell you, try going to the store and trying to find like an American product on their shelves. You won't find it. You won't find anything like this. Oh, you want to pick up some Lysol wipes to clean your countertops? Sorry, can't buy it there in Europe. You want some like beef stock to make your soup? Sorry, you're not going to find it. You want some organic, like half and half for your coffee? Sorry, you're not going to find anything like this. You're going to get these generic, crappy European brands, whether it's laundry detergent or basic household goods. All you'll find are subpar European brands. And this isn't just anecdotal. The numbers tell the same story. Our trade deficit with Europe stands at an eye-popping $131 billion. That's not trade. It's a subsidy. Plain and simple. We are propping them up. Trump understands this better than anyone. He's not just going to level the playing field. He's going to tip it in America's favor. The days of Europe freeloading on American prosperity are over. It's not just Europe, though. Let's talk about Canada. Over the past few days, Trump's comments about Governor Trudeau have sent the liberal media into a frenzy, and of course, for good reason. Trump called out how the United States has essentially been subsidizing Canada's economy for years, whether it's lopsided trade deals, unfair tariffs, or energy policies that put American workers last. Canada has benefited from our generosity while giving us very little in return.
I said to Trudeau, I said, why are we subsidizing you $200 and $250 billion a year? He said, I really don't know. And I said, well, I don't know either. I said, what would happen to Canada if we didn't? He said, Canada would be obliterated if that happened. I said, then Canada should be a 50.
Okay. And I'm going to leave y'all on this one. Right here. Just to wrap all this up, let y'all get back to your day. So that last portion about people across seas and or, people up in Canada, that last portion, it's going to tie back to the money again. Okay. So if the money is your concern, if the money is your concern, if what he's doing with these foreign countries, what he's doing with places like Canada, if you're wondering what it is that he's doing, for years, we've been basically letting people borrow our labor, okay, borrow our items from our house, okay. Let's say we go over and cut the neighbor's yard, and and then the neighbor might.
A Democrat
want a
who
little something
proposed
to
buying
eat, or
Greenland
maybe
in the late
come and
1940s.
Get it out the fridge, whatever it may be. Well, we've been doing that for so long, and this neighbor, because there's only so much that you can do out of the goodness of your heart, especially when it starts impacting your household, right? There's only so much you can do out of the goodness of your heart before it starts to impact your household, right? The answer is yes. Okay. Well, we don't know what the backlash of this may be, but what it's sounding like is that we're no longer going to go and cut the grass. We're no longer going to allow people to come and get food out of the fridge. No matter how hungry they are, you can't come and get food out of the fridge. You're no longer going to get labor and products on an IOU. That's done. That's done, and it's done immediately. Moving forward, not only will you have to pay for the grass to get cut, but it's going to come with a little bit of interest owed as well. We're gonna get money. Both sides are going to benefit. Both sides are going to benefit. Point blank, period. I'll just say it like that. Both sides are going to benefit, or there will be no benefit at all. It's going to be one or the other. Either both sides benefit or no benefit at all. Okay, because we're not going to continue to do things out of the goodness of our heart and off of IOUs. Trump is trying to bring an end to the IOU era, because what it's seeming like, because we're outside looking in, what it seems like is that we do a lot of IOUs, and then behind the scenes, some shifty stuff will go on, only because, hey, you let me do this for free, and so now I'm going to let you come in and do this for free. There ain't nothing free in the world. There ain't nothing free. Nothing in this world is free, no matter how much you're worth. Nothing in this world is free. Nothing. And I think that we've been seeing over all these decades are the IOUs basically being brought to the forefront, especially with technology. The IOUs are being brought to the forefront. So that's all these secretive emails that we're starting to see, all these back alley meetings, as they say, all these different phone call conversations that are happening between certain people, millions of dollars being deposited and stuff. All that stuff, people funding certain projects and stuff, like all of that's the IOUs. That's all the IOUs. That's what that is. That's my true belief, is that all those IOUs are all that behind the scenes stuff, and all of a sudden the backlash is somebody gets upset. Something doesn't really go the way that the person expected for it to go, especially like whenever you had free involved. Things can't go right anytime you have free involved without any type of standards. And so that's what's going on. I appreciate y'all's time so very much. I appreciate y'all so very much. I appreciate you even clicking on this video. And guys, this channel is to offer as much encouragement as possible. This channel is designed to help build people's confidence as much as possible, and remove as much of the chaos that's going on in the world as possible. Believe in a higher power, the higher power that wakes you up every day, the higher power that allows wind, air, whatever you want, the higher power that allows air to be on the earth, to allow you to breathe on a daily basis. Believe in that power. Believe in that power, and then let everything else be. Let's see. I know where my heart and where my mind are at. But here's a man trying to do some things. Let's see. I'm not going to go into it blindly. I'm not going to go into it falsely. I'm not going to go into it just backwards. I'm going to go into it knowing, okay, okay, I have a little bit of an understanding. I'm not a fool, and I know that you might say you have my best interest at heart, but you're trying to make sure the company continues to go. And if the company comes before the people, that's when the people need to come together before the company. Y'all be great. Let them hate.